Hello students, welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University, Hyderabad. I am Dr. Sonal Mobar Roy from National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj. Today we are looking at the course Social Issues, Policies and Development. In this we are going to look at Block 2, Understanding Social Policy, Unit 5 that deals with national policies for women, children, aged and differently abled persons. Now we are going to focus on the national policies for children. This course is part of Sociology UG second year semester 3. So we have already seen in the previous segment that the social policies designed for women were actually talking about how rights based approach can be envisaged for women and making sure they have just and equal rights. Now let us move to children. Children are often described as the future of the nation, but if we look at the realities present in the text, child labor, malnutrition, lack of education, we see a very different picture. The nation actually is facing a lot of issue when it comes to children issues. There is grave violence against women, there is grave violence against children, there is child trafficking, there is malnutrition, and there are various policies and schemes that are actually addressing these issues in a very focused manner. These issues are not isolated. A child who is working is often doing so because the family needs that income. He brings in 2 extra hands of income for that particular household. A child who is malnourished is part of a household that lacks resources. It cannot feed the extra kids in the house. So the problem is not just at the level of the child, it is embedded in the socioeconomic conditions of the family. It is the problem of the household, and children are the people or children are the ones who actually face the problem at the threshold. Hence, we need focused policies, focused social policies designed for catering to the issues of children. Policies for children usually operate along 2 lines: protection and development. Protection includes laws against child labor and exploitation, while development focuses on education and nutrition. If you have traveled across the country, you might have come across children working as at small shanties. They are called chotus and various other common names. They are there at puncture shops, pawn shops, roadside restaurants. What is this? This is actually child labor. Then you have children working at ungodly hours. They are prone to all sorts of violence. So all these issues need to be understood as a sociologist, and we need to identify the gaps in the policy implementation and come up with certain ideas to cater to these issues. But here is an important point: removing a child from labor without addressing household poverty does not solve the problem. You are actually just shifting it from one segment to another. So there is also a paradox we must reflect on. Children are symbolically valued as the future, yet materially their present conditions are often neglected. This gap between rhetoric and reality is something policy must confront. You cannot just think of removing a child labor from the shanty and bring him home. You are actually increasing the economic burden of the household. So you cannot just have any women fancy and stop child labor. You have to have certain roadmap in particular schematic manner to address this issue. Hence, to cater to these issues, the National Policy for Children 1974 came up. It recognized that programs for children should find prominent place in national plans for the development of human resources, so that children grow up to become robust citizens, physically fit, mentally alert and morally healthy. They are endowed with the skills and motivations provided by the society. We are calling them the future of the society. The policy also laid emphasis on equal opportunities for the development of all children during the period of growth. This also meant that we have to provide them with good nutrition, good skills, good attitudes, with good knowledge, and have them enjoy their childhood. So the whole policy should ensure that children are there to enjoy their childhood with complete security, with just rights, and there is no domestic violence, or they are not prone to any other kind of risk or insecurity. Then in 2003 we had the National Charter for Children that was adopted on 9th February 2004, and it underlined the intent to secure for every child its inherent right to be a child and enjoy a healthy and happy childhood, to address the root causes that negate the healthy growth and development of children, and to awaken the conscience of the community in the wider societal context. This also meant to protect children from all sorts of abuse while strengthening the family, society, and the nation. There have been multiple researchers and studies that have talked about child abuse, child trafficking, and violence against children. So, the policy ensured that children were there in a secure atmosphere. The family was secure, there was livelihood security, they had access to good employment and education and health facilities for an overall development of the child and of the family. That meant that we were into a process of good nation building. The National Policy for Children 2013 recognizes that child is any person below the age of 18 who is actually an integral part of the society and should enjoy childhood in its more secure and just manner. Then the child is unique and a supremely important national asset. The child should be benefited with good skills, capacity building, etc., to ensure he or she turns up to be a good citizen of the country. The policy also ensures that children have the right to grow in a family environment, in an atmosphere of happiness, love, and understanding. The policy envisages families are to be supported by a strong social safety net in caring for nurturing their children. The National Policy for Children 2013 aims to protect and encourage the rights of the children for survival, making sure they have good health, good nutrition, access to education, they have capacity building skills and knowledge, there is protection for them, and they have equal participation in day-to-day life activities. The policy, as notified, is a paradigm shift from the more common patronizing approach to children with the disabilities seen in the mainstream. So, these policies, these frameworks have ensured that there are rights-based approach for children's betterment, for their development, for their skill development, for their capacity building. They are saved from atrocities, from day-to-day life's violence. They don't have to compromise their childhood for struggles that they face at the household level. So, these policies were brought in such a manner that they address these grave issues and ensured a good childhood for the children citizens of the country. The national policy also made sure that the schools were inclusive in nature. There was availability of trained teachers and special educators. Appropriate pedagogy was designed. They had good educational material. There was barrier-free access in the schools. And they made sure that child's fullest potential and autonomy was ensured through this policy. The policy also states that the views of children with disabilities must be promoted and strengthened within the family, community, schools and institutions, that they should not face any kind of stigma because of their different ability. So, the policy has been very inclusive in nature. It has ensured that children citizens have good childhood, they have barrier-free access to education, good nutrition for their development, and they turn out to be good citizens of the nation, ensuring a Viksit Bharat. Thank you so much.